I feel like I'm going crazy. Am I the only one who felt like Shedeur Sanders was simply solid and not spectacular in his NFL debut? Am I the only one who actually watched the game? Because it feels like everyone is just watching a box score. Everybody's getting caught in the hype. The headlines would make you believe that Sheduer Sanders has been the superstar of the preseason so far. Some are even suggesting he should already be the Browns starter in 2025. That is crazy to me. Crazy. I want to break down play by play, drive by drive, Sheduer Sanders' week 1 preseason performance. I'm going to give you my grade, my thoughts, and opinion on whether or not Sanders was spectacular like everybody thinks, or simply fine, solid. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Shedeur's performance against the Carolina Panthers in week 1 of the preseason. And let me know if you agree or disagree with my analysis. Let's go. We are truly living through a NFL moment. No player drafted in the 5th round, has ever had this amount of hype. Let's see if Sheduer lives up to the hype in his first ever NFL performance. The first play here, first throw. Looks like he has a swing pass to the left, but he decides to go with the slant to the right on a one-on-one. Not a bad decision. Apparently Deontay Johnson, who he does target here, is having a pretty good training camp. Browns fans, let me know. I do think this is a little bit too high. I think it's a slightly inaccurate pass. I wouldn't say it's a terrible throw by any means, but for a shorter receiver like Deontay Johnson, I would say this is a little bit too high for him to handle. I would certainly say that. Just second look at it, you can see the swing to the left and then the throw to the right. A little bit too high, possibly catchable. Here on 3rd and 5, I would put this on the receiver rather than Sanders for an inability to pick up this first down, because I think that Sanders goes to the right read, hits his back foot, immediately gets the ball out, and it's an accurate, good ball placement pass. So nothing really wrong with this. I like how he hits his back foot, throws the ball, and it's just a little short of the first down. The Browns possibly could have gone for this if it was a regular season important game, but I do believe they decide to punt here on like 4th and inches. A little bit scared there, Stefanski. It's the preseason. Go for it. But hey, I think that's on the receiver to not get past the marker or to the marker rather than having to work back to the ball. And when you're throwing that type of route, it's kind of difficult to lead your receiver up the field. I'm going to be fair. So not a bad throw there. Solid throw. Nothing spectacular. 1st and 10. Looks like a screen pass here. When I'm evaluating quarterback play, some guys are better than others at selling a screen and having the arm angle to deliver a screen. But unless it's a truly incredible delivery from the quarterback, a screen is a screen. There's not too much to get excited about here, but it's good offense when it does work. And here it clearly works for a pretty decent gain and a first down. So that's going to add to his box score, right? When you're not watching the actual game, you'll realize that Sanders picked up quite a bit of yards on some screens in this game. Okay, then we have a 1st and 10 immediately following a pass here where he tries to go down the right sideline, and I would say that was a inaccurate pass. A little bit too far for his receiver. That was really, from what I can recall, the only deep ball of the game from Sanders. So, yeah, a little bit too far. The receiver gets tangled up with the corner. No clear separation. Not exactly sure what he was looking for there. Maybe just a jump ball win, but the ball wasn't even really close. And I don't think even if the receiver doesn't fall down, the ball would have been that close. It was out of bounds. So not exactly the best pass. That's probably the 2nd inaccurate throw on his first, 4 attempts, and 1 was a screen. So then you have a 3rd and 9. This is an interesting play from a grading perspective because it's 3rd and 9. The Panthers are sending a blitz off the edge. I'm not sure if he sees the blitz or not, or just gets a little lucky because he actually ends up making a really nice scramble attempt here and gets the first down. But in a game against good NFL teams and good NFL players, this is probably a sack, right? This is the worst defense in football, and they're backups of the worst defense in football. So keep that in mind, who he's playing against right now. But there's a guy that could have clearly sacked him. You give him a little credit for the elusiveness, a little credit there for the ability to run and pick up a first down, and a little bit of credit for the celebration as well. But I think one of the promising elements from Sanders in this game was the ability to scoot and actually pick up a first down, run a little bit, showcase that mobility that I didn't think was too big of his profile or too big of a part of what made him an interesting prospect. So that's nice to see out of him, but I do wonder against a better opponent or better player if that's not a sack. He literally ran right into the pressure. So I don't know. He's not Josh Allen. 2nd and 12. Here, play action. And one thing, I loved seeing the play action here because that's the Browns offense. Play action, run the ball, play action, shot down the field. That's what I love to see, just to see that transfer, because that's not something he did too much of in the college game. 2nd and 12 here. He probably holds the ball a little bit too long, but then eventually he does try to find a man down the field, and as you guys could see, he completely whiffed. He completely missed that throw. I mean, absolutely completely missed this throw. Is really bad. Like, how do you miss that throw so poorly? It's not like there was pressure in his face. That's a terrible throw. So that's clearly inaccurate. You give him a plus for the movement and the ability to find time and get a guy open, right? That is a big part of the NFL game. Look at Lamar, look at Allen, look at Mahomes, how they're able to buy time and get guys open with the extra, extension. But then you have to make the throw. That was just atrocious. Then you have 3rd and 12. Okay. Here, far too short on the throw. It's 3rd and 12. This picks up about 9 yards. In a game, maybe you would think about, or a real game, I should say, you would think about going for it here, potentially. It's not a bad decision necessarily, but it's not the perfect decision, given the fact that it's a 3rd and 12 and you need 13 yards, right? You need 12, 13 yards to pick up the first down. So, well short, but not terrible. They do end up going for it here on 4th and 2. So, that 3rd down completion, which was a solid throw, nothing spectacular. It was on time, in rhythm, good spot, no problem, right? 4th and 2. Actually, if we do look back at this, the placement of the ball, maybe a little bit high. Maybe if he would have led him a little bit more, maybe it could have been a first down. Maybe. That's probably stretching things. I'm not going to be unfair. But at least it gives you an opportunity for 4th and short. So on 4th and 2, I just think he kind of panics here, in my opinion. I think he should just hit his back foot here and find one of these inside receivers on what looks like some sort of option route or out route or something. Stick, maybe, something there. I'm not exactly sure the concept. But regardless, I think he should just hit his back foot and find whichever receiver he wants to go to. Instead, it seems like he tries to play hero ball, hold on to the ball, and it almost results in a disaster. So as you guys can see, he gets pressure in his face, runs around, and this is a problem with Sanders' game, in my opinion. He plays like this, but does not have the physical capacity or capability to actually play like that. A lot of the times, I noticed in his college tape that he tries to play like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, but he does not have their elusiveness or their creativity or their actual physical ability to make those plays, which is a big problem at the NFL level because that results in a lot of negatives. You maybe can get away with it in the preseason against backups, but against starters, it's going to be a problem. So just going back, to that 4th down, just to see if he could have gone anywhere with the ball. So I believe that he could have potentially picked one of the inside players that were breaking out and just thrown the ball on time. They're not super duper open, but that's the NFL. You're not going to have guys wide open on every snap. You just have to make a decision, especially if you do notice a guy bearing down on you with pressure coming in your face. You have to get rid of the ball, especially if you know you're not Lamar Jackson. You're not going to elude this guy, right? You have to get rid of the ball. So it's 4th down, make a decision, make the play, right? At least he doesn't fumble the ball. A sack, doesn't necessarily kill you on 4th down either because it's 4th down. But I would say just hit your back foot, make a decision, read the field, and go with your best matchup. 1st and 10, again, similar to what we saw earlier, plays in rhythm here, gets the ball out, gets some positive yards, takes a profit on 1st down. That's what you like to see. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Then here, looks like they set up a screen, a motion screen, 2nd and 5. I feel like nowadays in the NFL, when teams do these sort of plays, it's just so obvious it's going to be a screen. I feel like everyone's just been diagnosing Miami's offense now for a few years, and these plays just don't work anymore, but that's just my opinion. I don't know. But yeah, this did not work whatsoever. Nothing bad on Sanders' part, just the play call didn't work out. So now it's 3rd down and 7. And on 3rd and 7 here, he just that's just a bad play in my opinion, all the way around. So it's 3rd and 7. Look at where the guy is, the tight end on this play. He's on his own 40-yard line, 41-yard line, Cleveland's 41-yard line. He's throwing a 4-yard pass on 3rd and 7, and it's not on time. The receiver and the quarterback are not in sync, and the ball is totally off. So I would rather list that as an inaccuracy, poor timing, and just overall bad decision-making from the quarterback. I don't think that decision-making is only not turning the ball over. It's also on 3rd and 7, do you throw the ball for 8 yards sometimes or give the guy a yak opportunity? Here, that's never going to happen. There's 2 defenders around that player. There's no chance he's ever going to get 7 yards on this play. Absolutely zero. So that would be a negative for me. 2nd and goal here. This is one of the best plays of the game from Sanders. I like to see the rollout, and he threads the ball between multiple defenders for a touchdown. Beautiful accuracy and placement here, and this is a huge plus play for Sanders. Probably the first of the game, if I'm being honest. The one scramble, I guess you could say that was a plus play, although it was a little dicey and potentially could have been really problematic. This is a real plus throw here, right? Puts it between 2 defenders. Could have been picked potentially, but beautiful loft, beautiful touch, and ends up scoring a touchdown. So I think, honestly, Sanders' best plays in this game were the touchdowns, which is why everybody is so excited about his week 1 performance, because everyone saw the highlights of the touchdowns, and they're like, this guy's a stud. But the plays that were not the touchdowns are kind of more so mediocre to not as good. So here we have 2nd and 7. This is another quick outside throw. Decent, solid. I think one of the problems I do have with the tape here a little bit is I don't see a lot of pop or arm strength on a lot of these throws. I just don't feel like I see a real physical trait that is overwhelming. A lot of what I'm watching in the preseason is I'm trying to grade not only the performance, but I'm more so looking for traits. And I don't see a lot with Sanders in his game. I think what I'm most impressed with so far is just his gamer ability. I think his ability to play on time better than I thought he did in college. I think that's improving. And then just seeing him go through play action dropbacks, get outside the pocket, things like that. But overall, the arm strength doesn't pop on that throw. The arm strength hasn't popped really all game to me. The accuracy has been a bit spotty, which I felt like was his best trait coming out of college. 3rd and 9 here, he gets a little fortunate. As you guys can see on the right side of the screen, the corner actually ends up falling down, so he has a wide open receiver. This is a gift right here. The corner ends up falling down. He is dialed in on that throw the entire time, and he finds his receiver. I'd say that's a plus play. It's not a bad throw. It's in a good spot. Good placement, accuracy, all that sort of stuff. It's just the corner fell down, so the guy was sort of wide open. There's not a lot that you can say. It's basically like completing a screen, to be honest. 1st and 10, play action. I like to see this in the Stefanski offense. And here we get to see a little bit of his mobility. Again, I thought this was a positive for him, just seeing him at the NFL level to be able to run a little bit, just enough, right? That's 9-yard gain, sets yourself up in a 2nd and short. 2nd and 1 here, quick throw on the slant, dangerous throw. So this was, I would say this is a negative play. You have the one-on-one over here, but then I believe the safety drives on the football, and he's just reading his eyes the entire time. The safety's reading Sanders the entire time and just drives on it. That's where you get your receiver just absolutely jacked up, annihilated, or it's a pick a lot of the times in the NFL. Like if this is Jesse Bates, that might be a pick 6, or at least you're going to get your guy KO'd in the concussion blue tent. So yeah, that's not a good play by Sanders right there. 2nd and 13. Felt like he held the ball there a little long, but he had good protection. And here again, a little bit of a dicey decision. Not a good ball. And that could have been picked. That was really good coverage by Carolina. Maybe you give that to the defense and just say that was a really good play. But I'm not so sure. I mean, this was a pretty dicey decision. Just the deep in route there. Knocked away. Never open. But he was just on it the whole time. He was just looking at it the entire play. Then you have a 1st and 10. Screen. Again, nothing there on the screen. So I believe that's the 3rd screen throw of the game. 2nd and 12. Buys time to his right. This is one of the best plays of the game. Lofts it over the top of multiple defenders and gets his receiver downfield. I would say this is a better catch than it is a throw. I wouldn't say this is the best throw, but at least he puts it in a spot where the guy can make a play on it. And I think the best thing you could say about that play, honestly, the best thing you could say about this play is the composure. And I would say the confidence to make the throw, and then just the vision. Like, okay, I've got a little time, buy a little time. Okay, I see my guy open. Perfect touch. Like, not perfect touch, but ideal touch. And it's not going to be intercepted at the very least. Maybe it's incomplete, but it's in a good spot for a guy to make a play on it. So I think overall confidence is there for him. That's nice to see. Gamer. Again, gamerness. We'll call it that, but great catch. I mean, I'm not sure how many times he makes that catch. 1st and 10. Now we're working back in the red zone, and I felt like this was maybe his best throw of the game. This is a touchdown. Drives the ball in a perfect spot. This ball is in a perfect spot here. So it's closer to the goal line. You want to throw this ball low a lot of the times. And I felt like he maybe had to shuffle and reset his feet a little bit. And he just drives the ball. I thought this was like his best power throw of the game and most impressive ball placement on an entire pass in the game. You can see the ball placement is away from the defender and in a spot for the guy to make a play. So yeah, I thought that was his best throw of the game, to be honest. So really plus play there. The 2 touchdowns were spectacular. There's no question about that. 1st and 10. Here again, a little bit of a dicey decision, but I think more so than the decision, I think it is the placement of the ball, the accuracy of the pass. So the timing is a little off, and the placement of the pass allows the corner to drive on the ball. It's a little bit inside. That's dangerous. That could have been a pick. So that's like multiple throws now. He could have thrown 2-3 interceptions. Got a little bit fortunate. He's playing backups. The speed of these guys isn't quite the same. They aren't as dialed in as a lot of the starters. So yeah, I kind of felt like that was a negative. 3rd and 17 in his own end zone. They're letting him pass, which I guess shows confidence. He does buy some time here, and then he checks it down. Another pretty inaccurate throw. I mean, he throws it right at the ground. So I'm not sure about that. Or maybe it was 2nd and 17, not 3rd and 17. I'm not sure, but it says 2nd and 17 in the corner. I thought it said 3rd and 17 on the field. Yeah, it did say the opposite. So I'm not sure if it was 2nd or 3rd. Anyways, but I think that's a catch. I'm not 100% sure if that stood as a catch. I don't know. Anyways, it's not the best throw, and I don't know about like trying to even play around back there. Like, if this is 3rd and 17, you don't want to be playing around in your own end zone. What's the likeliness you're going to get an 18-yard gain from your own end zone? And the play that you end up making is scrambling, stepping up, which is good pocket presence. He does show good pocket presence here, stepping up and finding a check down. But this, I mean, really, it doesn't help you too much. Maybe it helps your punt, but I'm not so sure. Like, it's a little risky, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I think others could see it a different way if they think that maybe that would do enough for the punter. But 1st and 10, play action, once again, and a wide open guy. He loved his tight ends in this game. I can't really say that that was like a spectacular play. I think that's a pretty routine, solid throw, just like wide open guy, good route, decent placement. I feel like you could argue maybe he should have led him towards the sidelines, but at the same time, it felt like the tight end or the receiver was still able to create yards after catch with where the ball was. So I can't really say that that was a poor accuracy on the ball. I'm trying to be fair. 2nd and 6. He just checks it down. Doesn't look like there's anyone open downfield here. I like that he didn't try to mess around and scramble around and try to buy extra time, as he didn't find anyone open to his first read to the left. So he's looking at his left, and it doesn't look like anyone's coming open there. Well defended. The safety sitting over the top on what looks like some sort of post or slant or something over the middle. So yeah, it does look like the swing would be the best place to go with the ball. But I just think he throws this ball poorly. He throws the ball behind the receiver instead of in front of the receiver to lead him for yards after catch, where he does potentially have a blocker here in front of him to get the touchdown, potentially. I mean, if this is Joe Burrow throwing the ball, that could be a first down. It could be a touchdown. Like, this is behind the receiver, and it's way too high, and the defense is able to rally on it, right? If the ball is a perfectly placed pass and it's crisp and it's accurate, that was his last throw of the game, then that might have been, a pretty decent play, maybe. But there it is, guys. That's kind of my thoughts, play by play. Now, in terms of the grade for the game, I would make an argument that there were positives from Sanders in his week 1 showing. I thought his red zone passing was spectacular. His highlights of the game were the 2 touchdown passes. The best throw of the game was the power throw, low at the goal line for his 2nd touchdown. The first touchdown, maybe a little bit of luck involved, but he did thread it through multiple defenders with nice touch. So it showcased 2 different kinds of throws. I thought he showed confidence and composure, and his extension skills did come in handy a couple of times, particularly on that one-handed catch play. But overall, I think the most impressive part was not only did we see a hint of mobility from him and pocket presence, but we were also able to see his play with timing, which I felt like was something he missed as a college player. I felt like he far too often tried to play hero ball when that should not be his game in the NFL. Now, that being said, if he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL, he needs to be more accurate than he was in this game. I felt like there was about 7 to 8 inaccurate passes in this game that maybe 2 or 3 of them could have been intercepted or could have injured his player. Like, it was pretty seriously bad in multiple aspects there. So the biggest thing is, when I watch him, I don't necessarily see a superstar. I don't see any trait that is spectacular, but I will say that he did overall impress me from what I expected entering his first game, because I was not high on him as a prospect. So I want to see more, particularly maybe against better competition, especially the worst defense in football's 3rd stringers. But I do think that there's enough to take away here to say he had a C+, like he said, or a B- to B performance. I definitely do not think this is enough to warrant him starting or even making the Cleveland Browns roster, but I do think that it's a good start for Sanders. So let me know what you guys thought in the comments. I just think we need to stop overrating the kid and putting so much pressure on him because it feels like it's getting outrageous. Let me know your thoughts. It's Mitch. Gronk spiked the like button, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.